Coming up, we are going to complete our bracket for the best theming at the different lands at Walt Disney World, and we'll reveal your favorites. From the Bob Varley Studio in Orlando, Florida, this is the DIS Unplugged. This is the DIS Unplugged for the week of, or episode 734 for the week of August 26th, 2014. The DIS Unplugged is brought to you by Dreams Unlimited Travel, experts at helping you plan the perfect Disney vacation. Visit them on the web at www.dreamsunlimitedtravel.com. Well, again, hello and welcome everybody to the DIS Unplugged here in the Bob Varley Studio in Orlando, Florida. I am Dustin West, your host this week, joined at the table by some of my wonderful friends, John Magi, Kevin Close, Jenny Lynn Knott, Corey Martin, and back in the production nook we have our associate producers, Craig Williams and Sean Thompson. Well, we want to get right to it. All this week we have been putting up bracket polls for you on Facebook, for those of you who have been following along, and we have been asking you what are the best themed lands that are at Walt Disney World. And I know there was a little bit of confusion on the Facebook. This is the best themed land, or no, the best themed lands at Walt Disney World, not the best themed lands. So it's what we think are the most well-themed, not necessarily our personal favorites. But we are going to do a bracket, and I will try to pull this up in a minute. But we have a lot of matchups, and we're going to try to go through these as quickly as possible. We had 32 individual ones that we are going to do here, and I just want to get through the rounds and see what we think has the best theming. I know what the people at Facebook have decided is the best themed land, and we will reveal that at the end of the show, and we will compare notes as to what we did at the table.
I like the finger point. I know.
I know.
People on Facebook did.
Okay, well, I can't get this up right at the moment.
I was trying to buy you some time, acting like a fool, but we wasted it.
Our first matchup that we have, and these are in random order, by the way. Our first matchup that we have is Future World East versus the United Kingdom. Again, this is for what you feel is the best theming.
Just for clarity's sake, we probably should say what Future World East is, because a few of us at the table struggled with that.
I don't identify them as East and West, so I know Disney does, but
doesn't see color.
I don't.
Well,
treat every Future World equally.
I mean, we could do it all as one, but
sorry,
we could do it all as one, but it makes it 32 if I do it this way. So that's why I did it.
So what does Future World East consist of? What are the...
Future World East and Future World West are a little bit different. Future World West is the more fluid version of Future World. And I'm sorry, I'm knocking stuff over. And it includes...
Spaceship Earth.
No, I'm sorry.
Universe of Energy.
Yep. Yeah.
Not Spaceship Earth.
Spaceship Earth as well. The Living Seas.
Yes.
And then Universe of Energy, Test Track, and Mission Space.
Oh, they're both?
The Living Seas is not included in that.
Living Seas and Universe of Energy on different sides of the park.
Right, let me stop you right here. Future World East is Test Track and Mission Space and Universe of Energy. West is Living Seas.
The land.
Technically, no, but cast member wise, no. But
I'm not going cast
geographically wise.
Going map wise.
Yeah.
All right. So we're talking about
England.
We're talking about future. All right, guys. We're talking about Future World East, which has Mission Space and Test Track and Universe of Energy, versus the United Kingdom. I know for me, I think that even though I love Future World East, United Kingdom is very well themed, and it's like all about the different eras and different types of buildings at in the UK. So I've got to go with United
I agree
Kingdom.
with you on that for sure.
I don't see theming in Future World East. It's a big concrete jungle with attractions. I mean, each attraction is themed, but I don't see any theming in the entire area, so my vote is for the UK.
Okay.
Agreed. East and West have the same sort of, you're walking through concrete and then you get to a ride. So it's the UK.
All right. How about you, Jenny Lynn?
Same thing. I mean, I certainly am more entertained in Future World East and West. But UK, it's a country. It's better themed.
Right?
Yeah.
How about you guys back there?
Ditto.
Absolutely, United Kingdom.
Ditto. Yeah. All right. It is a consensus. The United Kingdom beats out Future World East. Next, we have Rafiki's Planet Watch at the Animal Kingdom versus Sunset Boulevard at Hollywood Studios. Personally, Rafiki's Planet Watch, the whole theme of Rafiki's Planet Watch is to not be themed at all, and it's all scientific, and there's conservation, so I'm going to have to go with Sunset Boulevard. John?
I'm not sure I know exactly what Sunset Boulevard is in the Hollywood Studios.
Sunset Boulevard includes Tower of Terror, Rock and Roller Coaster, and then the Farmer's Market.
Fantasmic is even included in that, so I'll go with
definitely Sunset Boulevard.
Yeah.
Yeah, it definitely captures that.
Me too.
Okay.
Me as well. For the same reason that you were saying. You go to Rafiki's Planet Watch and it just feels like you're more in
a petting zoo?
A petting zoo / museum type thing, where there's
See, I actually disagree.
people lecturing.
Go ahead.
I think Sunset Boulevard is so old and run down, and it could use about 14 different paint jobs working on it.
Have you been on the real Sunset Boulevard? It's very well themed.
Well, compare Buena Vista Street in that section, like Carthay Circle at California Adventure, compared it to our tiny Carthay Circle that just looks nothing like the actual building itself. It's just, it's not as good. Rafiki's Planet Watch might not have anything, but I think it's more effective.
I can see what you're saying, Craig. How about you, Sean?
Sunset Boulevard, hands down.
Yeah. And see, some of these, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but because we're including like everything, some of these are going to be hands down. It has to be that until we get to the final.
Yeah,
rounds.
of course. And I understand the point, especially when you're comparing it to Buena Vista Street and California Adventure. I mean, if you compare those two, I mean, it doesn't hold a towel to it, but or a candle. What's the word?
Candle.
What do you hold to it?
Here's the towel.
That's a new one.
But anyway, definitely Sunset Boulevard.
Okay, so we're set on that. Sunset Boulevard takes Rafiki's Planet Watch. Sorry, personal favorite Rafiki's Planet Watch. I love you, but not for your theming. Our next one is Frontierland at the Magic Kingdom versus Pixar Place at Hollywood Studios. And again, we're going based on theming, not personal favorites. Craig, what do you think?
Frontierland.
Yeah. How about you, Sean?
Frontierland.
I think that Frontierland takes Pixar Place. I mean, obviously, it creates an entire little world that you can get lost in. Pixar Place is a recreation of a brick building somewhere in Burbank. That's my opinion. How about you guys?
I do agree it's Frontierland, but I say this is a difficult one because I think when you look at the detail in Pixar Place, it really captures the whole idea of all of the movies. Mm-hmm. But I agree, Frontierland, when you compare the two.
Corey?
Definitely Frontierland. Pixar Place has the potential of expanding into something, even better, but Frontierland.
How about you, Jenny Lynn?
Yeah, I can't disagree with that.
Excellent. I will tell you that Facebook agreed with all of us. Frontierland beat out Pixar Place.
Do you want my opinion?
Yes.
Oh, that's why I didn't call on you.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to skip you, Kevin.
I don't think Pixar Place can hold a towel to Frontierland.
I really hope that sticks. I'm going to make a T-shirt out of it.
Can't hold it out. Oh, thank you for that, Kevin. I'm really glad that happened. This one is more of a toss-up, and this is one that when we put the poll out on Facebook, we had some that were clear winners. This one was basically 50-50 until the end. This is Norway versus Germany. It's kind of hard, but I'll start with you guys in the back. Sean, what do you think, Norway versus Germany?
This one's really hard, and this is where my personal preference one comes into play.
Yeah.
Because I want to say Germany. Just because I have that connection and I love it there. But I don't know. There's so many great details in Norway that really make it stand out for me. Particularly one of them is the execu for Maelstrom when you walk out, and it looks like kind of a dark Norwegian town.
It's very well
so
themed
pretty
there.
and so well themed. So I'd have to go with Norway.
How about you, Craig?
I'd go with Germany.
Any particular reason?
No. Just
Okay.
swinging the bat.
Wonderful. Jenny Lynn?
I have to say Germany. The reason is I just feel like it's a little bit deeper. I don't know how better to explain that. You feel a little bit more immersed. I don't know if that's because you walk a little further in maybe, but then you've got the shops and then beer garden, the restaurant there. It just feels like a very German experience.
It does.
I have to go with Germany.
Kevin, I imagine you'll have a very strong opinion on this one.
I think Germany.
Yeah.
First of all, Germany to me is great because as you sit back by the beer garden, if you sit at one of those outdoor tables, you really can't see anywhere else in Epcot.
Right.
It's kind of...
It's a little alcove.
Well, you don't have any other sight line. There's nothing to block that theming. The other thing is I didn't realize that the statue that's in the middle of the square is actually a real statue, and until we went to Rothenburg, Germany. And that exact statue of St. George is there. So it very much looks like that fountain. So,
my preference is Germany because that exact fountain is featured heavily in Full House. The House Meets the Mouse, and also because there's wonderful theming there and exactly what you said.
What any of those words mean.
There was a show called Full House.
And they did their Disney episode. It was featured in there. No, I like Germany because of the way the shops are all interconnected. You could say the same about Norway, but there's this whole courtyard, like you said, that you can just kind of get lost in.
And there's no sight line to anything else in Epcot. So it's not like you can see Spaceship Earth or you can see any of the other pavilions. You actually can feel immersed in Germany.
Exactly. Corey?
Germany for sure. You can meet Snow White over there. There's a restroom, more drink options.
There's a restroom.
You meet Snow White in the restroom.
There's actually a restroom in Norway too.
Is there?
Yeah. It's smaller, but
it's behind the bakery.
Yeah.
And it was
You're right.
It was actually there before the Norway Pavilion was there. That bathroom's that old.
Is it really? Mm-hmm. I didn't know that. How about you, John?
I agree. Germany. I agree. This was a tough one, but Germany wins out because of chocolate-covered salted caramel. That's why.
It's a wonderful thing, and not to mention they have that entire Werther's store in there, which just smells amazing when you walk past it. Love it.
How do you say the name of that store? It seems like a very touchy thing that you have to be careful.
It's the caramel blank.
Yeah.
Küche.
Küche is the German word. It's kitchen.
Okay.
Just don't.
Don't do it phonetically.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll just stick with that store. I don't know.
It's the caramel store.
Okay.
The Werther store.
So again, decisive. Poor Norway loses out to Germany. Again, very hard. Norway is, in my mind, really well themed as far as the countries in Epcot go, but Germany definitely takes it. Our next one, we have Liberty Square at the Magic Kingdom versus Hollywood Boulevard at Disney's Hollywood Studios. And Hollywood Boulevard is basically their version of the main street, the main drag when you go up. So, Jenny Lynn, I'll start with you. What are your thoughts?
This is a really tough one for me.
Okay.
But I went with Liberty Square simply because it goes back to a different era. I mean, well, obviously Hollywood Boulevard does as well, but Liberty Square being maybe a little bit more older, I guess. I love it that, you've got the Liberty Tree and the tavern. Well, there is a tavern there, but the lanterns in the tree. Maybe it's just because I'm more aware of the things in Liberty Square, but there's more stories to be told in the details there. I just think that the theming is really good, and it really kind of nails what it's going for.
Perfect. Corey?
Liberty Square for sure.
Yeah.
I think the Hollywood Boulevard could be cool if they got rid of the hat and they featured the Great Movie Ride, the exterior more. But I'd go with Liberty Square.
I'll be honest with you. Hollywood Boulevard, and maybe this isn't fair in the brackets, but Hollywood Boulevard loses points for me after seeing Buena Vista Street at California Adventure, because I look at it and I see, okay, that's what this could have been. And I agree with you with the Chinese theater out of the way. It's not as good as it once was, and for me, Liberty Square is as good as it's ever been, and I love Liberty Square.
The problem with the studios is that these are all passages to other places, and they all kind of blend together. And where you go to Walt Disney World, where you go to the Magic Kingdom, Liberty Square is a land, and you get immersed in that land, and you get to enjoy the land. So mine goes to Liberty Square.
Kevin?
Hollywood Boulevard.
Wrong.
You're wrong. Any particular reason that...
I like the theming of it. I think that's part of one of the best parts about Hollywood Studios. And as far as the sight lines at the hat, I can stand in Liberty Square and see Splash Mountain in Frontierland too.
That's true.
So it's not like anything's blocked. I just feel that, and I think they did a really good job. I actually think it compares to Buena Vista Street.
Okay.
I think the theming outside, and I like that old Hollywood thing.
Of course.
Remember I told you at the beginning I had a hard time picking between best themed and which I liked better?
Mm-hmm.
This is one of those things. I like the idea of walking down that old street.
Well, and in a way, they're part and parcel. What you feel you like better versus what is best themed.
And don't get me wrong,
It's all
not
personal
that
opinion.
I dislike Liberty Square. I actually think, I'm going to just Hollywood Boulevard.
Okay, you got it. How about you guys back there?
I would definitely go with Liberty Square. It's got one of my favorite spots to like sit and just hang out. Those 2 rocking chairs in between Hall of Presidents and the little shop outside. There's just like a couple steps up, and it's like this little porch, and there's 2 white rocking chairs. It's so peaceful to just sit there and hang out.
It is.
Like old people.
If you can get one. They're usually pretty busy.
Yeah.
How about you, Craig?
No, I definitely think Liberty Square. It's probably my second favorite themed land in the Magic Kingdom after Adventureland.
Really?
Just it has everything about that colonial vibe to it, and especially at Halloween time, whenever everything's like misty and foggy right outside of Sleepy Hollow.
Yeah.
It's just so cool there.
Cool. All right. Well, Liberty Square takes it over Hollywood Boulevard. The next one is interesting. It's Streets of America versus China.
I don't know where the Streets of America are.
Okay.
Where they do the Osborne
Osborne
lights.
lights.
Right. It's
They do the
like the New York Street, the San Francisco Street in the back lot of Hollywood Boulevard. Disney Hollywood Studios.
It has every attraction I want to leave Hollywood Studios.
This is one of those matchups where they don't really have a lot in common at all. But again, the whole bracket was put in a completely random order. So this is how we get to this point. Kevin, what do you think between China and versus?
I think Streets of America are big cardboard cutouts.
Yeah.
They are.
Since they took out the Golden Girls house and that whole street thing,
Yeah.
I just think that's a big backdrop for the Osborne lights. I don't know that it's anything else. I think China is much better themed.
I think, for me too, I think China takes it by default because there's so much attention to detail and trying to recreate those types of buildings, recreate that culture, versus even though Streets of
Cardboard
America,
flats?
and even though that's meant to be the theming of Streets of America, that you kind of see that backstage element, that it doesn't look necessarily exactly real, it's still China takes it for me. How about you, John?
I agree, China. And the thing that would make China perfect is if it had the iPad sweatshop. I think that would just really put it right over the edge.
Wow.
What? Not a problem.
Oh boy, Corey.
China for sure. It's hands down China. Yeah.
China. And you get to see Mulan and Mushu.
Oh yeah.
How about you, Jael?
I actually said Streets of America.
Yeah?
Maybe because it makes me feel like I'm in Sesame Street. I don't know exactly. I couldn't really put my finger on it, but I do feel immersed when I'm there, even though, San Francisco is a cardboard in the background.
It makes you feel like you're on Sesame Street because that's exactly what they were going for. They were going for this backlot city feel that you would get from major television and movie productions.
Well, there you go. So
Yeah.
that's why I feel like it's better themed. It nailed it.
There you go. How about you guys?
Are you doing her homework too?
I'm actually with JL on this one, and this is tough because I think the theming in China is beautiful, and I think it's really detailed, and there's some of the best, at least architecture work. There's like those staircases and the apartments back there. But for me, I love the theming of the backlot in the way that last year we got to go to Hollywood and actually go to Paramount and also Universal, and we got to see those studios, and it was seeing those places where those movies were filmed and being immersed in that kind of environment, and then seeing how they recreated it here is cool to me. I like that history, and I like the stoops. Singing in the Rain is one of my favorite movies, so having the it's not one of my, it's my absolute favorite movie. But having the street back there with the umbrella and like imagining how they film things back there with the rain, and it's just really cool. So
I wanted to add this too.
Yeah.
At Christmas time, I just really love it that they put a leg lamp in one of the windows for A Christmas Story, because that's my favorite Christmas movie. So I'm probably a little biased because they put up a leg lamp.
I'll shoot your eye out.
How about you, Craig?
It's close, but China.
China. All right. Well, we have China taking over Streets of America. Our next one is going to be Morocco in the World Showcase versus Africa, the village of Harambe, and all that stuff at Disney's
I was right.
Animal Kingdom.
There was some question as far as what you meant. If you went by Africa, if you meant the African outpost in the World Showcase or Africa, the land in Animal Kingdom.
No, I'm sorry. I did not include the African outposts that didn't make the cut. But this is Animal Kingdom, Africa versus Morocco. Sean, what do you think?
I think if you would probably asked me a while ago before the Harambe expansion, I probably would have gone with Morocco because that theming is fantastic. You just get lost in the back streets. You go through the alley and you're completely immersed. But I really love the new edition of Harambe. I like the bridge work. I think it's it's a really nice place to just kind of hang out. Even though it is pretty simple, I just think that theming in Africa is really nice.
I say this is a close one. This is a toss-up because we've all heard the stories about all the detail that went into the theming of Morocco, and we've heard the same stories about the theming that goes into Africa. Mm-hmm. For me, I've got to edge out with Africa because it's a little more immersive as far as the storytelling goes. So for me, it's Africa. How about you, Kevin?
Morocco. Morocco's the only place in Disney that Imagineers didn't have a hand in it. The Moroccan government is the one who designed that.
Right.
And I agree with Sean. I find that when I walk back there, you forget you're in Disney World. I feel that way about Germany, too. It's one of those places where you can completely just disengage from a theme park. Having never been to Morocco, it's the closest I've ever been, so I don't know if it's accurate or not, but I think it's the most immersive.
I do agree with you on that. Like those shops, like when you're there, you really forget where you are. But I'm gonna have to go with Africa. I mean, you can take a safari,
right?
I mean, that's like the best themed ride you can do, really. I mean, in Africa. So I'm gonna do it Africa.
How about you, JL?
I actually had to call it a tie with this one. I couldn't decide either way.
Can't do a tie.
Okay.
Yeah, I had to. Because, like you all were saying,
So if you make a choice,
Oh my goodness! Is it Robert or Allison? Let's do this thing.
Morocco, like you've already said it. It's extremely immersive. I feel to a degree that the other lands in World Showcase aren't, and but at the same time, Africa in the Animal Kingdom, it is a whole land and very well done. I've never been to Africa, but it is what I would imagine it would be with the street parties that they have and all of that. Can I please just stay with my tie?
We'll count and see if we have to come back to you for a tiebreaker.
Okay.
John. Yeah. Morocco.
I don't need to give a reason.
Okay. And Craig.
I think that they really are like in a tie of how good they are, but it comes down to that Africa is just a much bigger area, so it took that much more effort to theme a lot more and keep it all together. So I'll give it to Africa.
What did you vote for, Sean?
Africa.
Africa. Okay, so Africa takes it. Unfortunately, you didn't have to decide. See, you got out of the hard.
That might change my mind then. Morocco.
No.
Just to make her have to vote.
Yeah.
Sorry about that. I'm going to pull up.
I think the next one we don't really need discussion on. Let's just vote.
Yeah.
Let's just get this one out of the way.
One of those things. Our next one is Canada versus Discovery Island.
No,
You skipped one.
Did I? Which one?
Number
Oasis.
8.
Oh, I'm sorry. The next one is Oasis, which is the very front entrance to Animal Kingdom versus Main Street USA.
Oh, please.
Right? Exactly. I'll be honest with you. The reason I just skipped it is because I already filled out the answer to who would win.
the Oasis is a nice greenhouse.
The Oasis is nice, and it doesn't necessarily tell a story, but it's really well themed.
It's better at midnight.
There's a rainforest cafe.
Yeah, there's a rainforest cafe, but it's Main Street USA, right? So we're all in agreement.
Yes.
It's Main Street
Absolutely.
USA on this.
Main Street USA is the best themed land anywhere.
Do you think that will be our winner?
That's my opinion, but
We'll see if it comes down to that. All right, so sorry about that. We'll go to the one I had just mentioned, which is Canada versus Discovery Island. Again, at the front of Animal Kingdom, Discovery Island has all the merchandise shops, and it's kind of the hub for Animal Kingdom versus the country of Canada and Epcot. So, Craig, I'll start with you.
Canada.
Okay. How about you, Sean?
Canada.
Okay. How about you?
Canada.
Canada.
I think I might be the only one that's going to say Discovery Island.
Wait, Discovery Island, that includes Tree of Life, too, right?
Yeah.
Oh, I love the Tree of Life. I'm
So realistically themed, too.
The leaves are the color of Sean's shirt.
I was just going to say, trees with turquoise leaves are hard to find.
So you say
Yeah, I'm gonna say
Discovery
Discovery.
I
Okay.
said Discovery Island as well.
Okay, so
I just felt like Canada's. There's not much to it.
No Tim
Especially,
Hortons.
I know there's no Tim Hortons.
That
Now
would
that
make
I've
it win
actually
for
been
me.
to Canada,
You lose.
There were 4 of us.
Yeah. Canada is going to take it over Discovery Island, but I agree with you guys. I think it is closer than maybe we initially gave it credit for. Canada's nice, but I like Discovery Island. But Canada wins. So our next one is Italy versus Future World West, which includes Soarin', The Living Seas with Nemo, according to geography, and it also includes Journey into Imagination. So Italy versus Future World West, John?
Italy. When you compare the two, for sure, we talked about Future World not really having a theme. It's all concrete.
Yeah.
Although Italy is messed up because it's very... The monuments aren't in the right place.
Yeah, and when it's a little bit of everything from different
Yeah.
places, right?
It's a little bit messed up, but Italy for sure versus Future World, anything.
How about you, Kevin?
Can't hold a towel to it. It's Italy. I'm working it, Sean. I'm trying.
I prefer Italy. Again, it's another one of those things where it creates this giant space where you can just completely roam around. So it's got to be Italy versus, Italy for me over Future World West. How about you,
Italy.
Corey? JL?
Italy as well, just simply for the fact that Future World, those attractions, it's hard to just tie them together. I mean,
Yeah.
I know we call it Future World, and they're different pavilions based on different concepts, but like, how do you really tie in the Living Seas with Figment? You know, I don't think that
They do have pretty turquoise
world
water
goes together.
They do.
in that little lake, which matches the leaves
When
of the
it-
tree of life.
when it's not dried out. How about you guys in the back?
Definitely Italy.
Italy. I do want to clarify something, though, while we're talking about Future World. There is a very distinct separation between Future World East and Future World West. Future World East is very, you'll see all the theming there is very angular and rigid, and it's all about scientific discovery. Future World West is all about creativity, your imagination, and all things organic, so the land, the sea, and the mind. And so the theming there has more rounded edges and stuff like that. That's where the theming of those unified areas comes into it. But I still agree. Italy.
You have to describe it, then it's not really.
have to explain it.
Our next matchup we have is Tomorrowland versus the Animation Courtyard at Disney's Hollywood Studios. I'm going to say Tomorrowland. Does everybody agree with me?
Yes.
Tomorrowland?
Yeah.
Anybody getting love for the Animation Courtyard?
No, but I still wish they would put Tomorrowland back to that sort of white, futuristic. I never cared for the upgrade or the remodel of Tomorrowland.
You prefer
I
the
loved
retro
the
version of the future?
I do.
The 1950s version of one.
Versus the Jules Verne version.
Right.
I love
However-
the Jules Verne version. I love that they have metal palm trees.
Yeah.
I think that's cool.
However,
However, the-
Tomorrowland in Disneyland Paris is incredible.
Right.
Yeah, Discovery.
That's where they
Really-
did that right.
They
Yeah.
took that Jules Verne to the next level.
I loved the white sort of plaster look of Tomorrowland. If you ride the Tomorrowland Transit Authority, you can still see parts of it.
Yeah.
Outside, it used to be Living with the Land. They had those huge tile fountains that went down into the lake.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of that might be my memories. It might be nostalgia, but I don't think either one of these. I don't care for the theming of Tomorrowland, but the Animation Courtyard is other than like a big square. What is it?
It's a big square. And it has, Voyage of the Little Mermaid and the animation walkthrough and Disney
Live,
Junior
yeah.
live
So
on stage.
Is this again where I should be looking at angles and squares and circles and stuff?
Or we could just say Tomorrowland takes the
just
cake.
Okay.
Our next matchup is American Adventure versus Adventureland. Corey, what do you think?
Adventureland.
What is an American Adventure? Are you talking about the ride?
No, that's the American pavilion.
It's the pavilion is
that
technically
whole
called.
area.
So you're talking
really.
about the whole American.
Yes, chicken nuggets and all.
Yep.
Yes.
What were you going to say, Corey?
Adventureland for sure,
Yeah.
hands down.
I have to say Adventureland. I think that's one of the best themed lands in the Magic Kingdom.
It is like the classic, like penultimate, like Disney theming. Everyone loves Adventureland
There's
and
pirates,
everything.
you
Yeah,
know.
pirates,
Jungle
tiki
Cruise.
room.
Yeah, what I find fascinating about that land is they've taken so many different aspects of quote unquote adventure, but they've been able to blend them all together very successfully. You know, you've got an Arabian type feel in one area, and then you've got, you know, the jungle cruise type thing going on over here. And, you know, there's just a few pirates in the sea, and somehow these are all different things, but they are just blended together so beautifully.
Exactly. From all different parts of the world, it's that adventure brought together, and you're right, it blends in. How about you guys in the back?
No question. Yeah, Adventureland.
Right. Did I miss anybody over here?
Adventureland for sure. One of the cool things I think about Adventureland is that this is a point in the park where the foliage changes. Mm-hmm. You actually walk in and you're transformed into something different. So
I think the American Adventure, aside from the actual attraction itself inside the building, I think it's an embarrassment. I think that area of the park is an embarrassment.
It is.
I could say
we have a fast food restaurant,
right? Exactly.
And nothing.
Yeah.
I mean, we sell
new restrooms.
The restrooms are good, and they sell funnel cakes.
Yeah.
But other than that, I mean, they used to have craftsmen out there doing things like that, and I thought that was great. But I think otherwise, I think the attraction itself is great. But I think the rest of it.
You can get a bobblehead George Bush.
I was going to say, piggybacking on what Kevin was saying, probably Liberty Square does a better job of theming traditional America than the American Pavilion does.
Well, think about America is so much. I mean, it's so diverse, and we take into account none of that. It's, you know.
They were going for that one specific point in history.
Right, in Philadelphia.
Yeah.
I would love to have a restaurant there that kind of features food from all around the U.S.
As opposed to hot dogs and chicken nuggets?
All right, guys, so we're decided. Adventureland is taking over the American Adventure. Our next matchup is Asia versus Echo Lake, which, again, squares and curves.
Isn't that just like a counter surface?
It includes Indiana Jones. It includes...
It even includes Star Tours.
Star Tours. It's that whole area. It's supposed to be like the
50s
actual...
prime time.
The actual Echo Lake in Los Angeles. This kind of park atmosphere. As opposed to the back lot of a studio.
So with all that being said, Asia.
And again, I don't think this is a homogenous theme. I think you're talking about something that feels like it's transitional. So
Asia, for sure.
Asia.
You guys back there?
Asia.
Yeah. Craig.
Don't really care.
Just don't care. Well, that's wonderful to know. Our next one, again, you guys, it seems like Hollywood Studios is getting a little heat. We have Commissary Lane versus Dinoland USA, and Kevin looks like he's confused again.
It's two awful things.
Wait, to something else.
Yeah, it has sci-fi and ABC Commissary. That's it.
That's pretty much it. So
I think the idea of the commissary lane, the theme is of a commissary in a movie setup.
It's
so
meant to
we're theming basically where they feed the actors and actresses.
Right, it's
Exactly.
like sad ABC workers who get 20 minutes for lunch. You know, it's just sad.
well, now that we've decided, I think we've decided Dinoland is going to win over that, right?
I disagree.
Yeah, Dinoland doesn't do anything for me, but as far as an overall theme, it fits it. It's sort of a carnival atmosphere of prehistoric era.
And there's more to it than just Chester and Hester's Dinorama. There's the whole Dino Institute and everything as well. But I think comparing the two, Dinoland is going to take it. It'll get knocked out sooner or later. Our next one's, again, a hard one between a couple countries. Anytime you have these kind of like direct comparisons, it becomes a little more difficult. We have the France Pavilion versus the Mexico Pavilion. Who would like to go first? JL.
I have to go with Mexico. Anytime you can make me feel like I'm outside when I'm inside, it's completely cool. Plus, it has a boat ride. I'm really partial to boat rides. That marketplace, I just think it's so well done. It's actually my favorite pavilion in the whole World Showcase.
It's definitely my most nostalgic. I love that feeling of being outside while you're inside, and I think that does it. It does it so well.
It's just really...
So there's like a garbage truck or something outside honking at us.
I think the thing about it is just, it's really distinct. It's very distinct, and it stands out.
Okay. How about you, Corey?
God, this one's tough.
Yeah.
I love them both. Theming. I'm about to go with France.
France?
I'm going to go with France.
I'm going to go with Mexico. How about you guys?
Again, very, very tough. I think I have to go with Mexico. Just barely, though.
France.
And give us some love for France, because she talked all about Mexico. What do you
Again, I like the fact that I can disappear into that. But you can still see the gateway. I kind of find the Mexican pavilion tacky.
It's Mexico.
Maybe I kind of find Mexico.
I mean, you know what? We've been to Mexico.
I do.
You've seen
I
what that
find,
is.
again, remember, I told you at the beginning, I find a hard decision between what I like and what I think is better
Yeah.
done. I prefer France.
And that's what I had to decide because I love going to Mexico, getting a margarita and all that stuff. But what I like,
I think the idea
yeah.
the restaurants are better in France. I like the things I can buy in the shops better in
and
France.
that all counts.
I love the music to the movie. As a matter of fact, I have the movie music from the France movie. What's it called? Visions of France?
Impressions.
Impressions of
Impressions.
France. I have that on my iPad. So it's... I also think one of the worst restaurants on Disney property is inside the Mexican
Right.
pavilion. So
Just all around, France takes it compared to Mexico for you. How about you guys in the back?
I agree. I much prefer. I shouldn't say that. I think France is better themed than Mexico is.
Craig, you're a tiebreaker.
I actually prefer Mexico.
Craig breaks the tie. It is Mexico over France, but that was the closest one we've had, I think. Wow,
that
that sounded
there?
like an interesting
Thunder.
noise.
Sacre Bleu.
That sounded expensive.
Our final in this first round, and then we're going to get through the rest, is Fantasyland versus Japan at
When
Epcot.
we say Fantasyland, are we including New Fantasyland and Storybook Circus with it?
Everything. So for me, it's got to be Fantasyland, especially with the new stuff. I love the Mitsukoshi store, but it's Fantasyland, and yeah. How about you, Corey?
Oh, Fantasyland for sure.
Yeah.
I love Japan. Why couldn't we put that up against Oasis?
Yeah, I know it's unfair.
yeah.
They are random.
So Fantasyland for sure. That's Disney right there.
Yeah. How about you, JL?
Same thing. I love Japan as well, but there's just more to Fantasyland.
Okay. How about you guys in the back?
I say Japan. I think that New Fantasyland is great, and I really love it, but the old Fantasyland detracts from that for me.
Okay.
I think it's so outdated; it needs work. And
Well, they're
Japan
working
wins.
on it. They're working on it. How about you, Craig?
Japan as well. Fantasyland is a complete mishmash right now because you have one section that looks really nice and then you still have that old medieval fair style on the other side. So if we're talking about theming as we are, those themings clash against each other, whereas Japan is one whole thing.
Makes sense.
I think that's one of the reasons why I like Fantasyland, though, is because there's compartments to it. You have like the royal courtyard area, and then beyond those walls that they built up in the middle goes into what they call the enchanted forest or whatever it is. When you think of castles, there's the courtyard area, and then beyond that is where the common folk lived. I kind of like that dimension to it.
That storytelling theming is definitely there, especially with New Fantasyland. How about you, John?
Oh, I thought I already went.
Did you?
Fantasyland.
Okay. How about you, Kevin?
Sorry.
Japan.
In my head, I
Japan.
already went.
So that's
Because of what Craig said.
okay. So that's 3 for Japan, 4 for Fantasyland, right? We all did Fantasyland. Okay. So we have our first round done. It's actually looks pretty much exactly the same as the one that you guys filled out on Facebook. Again, we're going to have the winner of the one from Facebook mentioned alongside our winner at the end of the show. So we are going to roll through this next round, speed style, okay?
Right.
First, we have the United Kingdom versus Sunset Boulevard. Sean.
I apologize. Can you say them again?
Yes, the United Kingdom versus Sunset Boulevard.
UK.
All right. How about you, JL?
Yeah, I'm going with UK.
Okay. how
UK.
about- all right, UK for me.
Okay.
Me too.
And Craig?
UK.
All right. That is the United Kingdom over Sunset Boulevard. The next is Frontierland versus Germany. Speed round.
Frontierland.
JL.
Stress. Germany.
Germany over Frontierland. Okay.
Frontierland.
Craig?
Frontierland.
How about you guys?
Frontierland.
Frontierland.
It's Frontierland for me, too. Our next one is going to be, and I know you guys haven't seen these matchups before, so I'm sorry to stress you out with this. We have Liberty Square versus China. Corey.
Liberty Square.
Liberty Square.
Liberty Square.
Liberty Square.
You guys.
Me too.
Liberty
That was
Square.
peer pressure.
I think Liberty Square definitely takes it over China for me. We have our next one is This is a tough one, and we can talk about this a little bit if you guys want. This is Africa versus Main Street USA.
Oh, please.
No.
It's not a tough one.
Oh, it's a tough one
I'm
for
talking
me.
about it. No.
No.
So
discussion
it's
needed.
which one is it?
Main Street.
Main Street.
Main Street.
Main Street.
I would say Africa.
See, I'm going to say Africa as well,
Okay.
but we're wrong.
We're in the minority.
I mean, those are two, in my opinion, two of the highest themed things
Yeah.
that you can find in Disney World. And for me, personally, Africa edges out
Main
just a
Street
little
not
bit.
only has the theming of the buildings and all that stuff, but Main Street also has a story that's told throughout the day, where
Yeah.
it goes through Walt's life. When you look at the transportation that's available and the costumes of the people on the streetmosphere, Main Street is just immersive.
It's so true, and they do have all these little details. Like there's specifically one window on one of these side streets where you can actually hear noises coming out of it. You can hear a dance lesson happening from this upper story window that says dance lessons on it. So, I mean, that's a really tough one.
is.
I think I'm just saying Africa because it's bigger and maybe more realistic. Although I don't know, I've never been there.
Right. How about you, Craig?
Main Street, yeah.
Main Street takes it over Africa. Sorry, JL, we got busted on that
Two in a
one.
row.
It's all right. I wasn't like really strong on my choice. So.
Here's another tough one between our countries. We have Canada versus Italy. For me, it's got to be Italy. How about you, John?
Italy.
Italy.
How about you, Craig?
Italy.
I like Canada more, but Italy wins.
Okay.
Italy.
For
Italy.
theming. You mean. All right, so Italy takes Canada.
Canada has so much potential. I wish they would put like a fast food or a little
Poutineery, you might say.
A poutineery or
little bar.
Tim Hortons. They need a Tim Hortons. All right, guys, this is one you're not going to like. Tomorrowland versus Adventureland.
Adventureland.
That's simple. Yeah,
that's
Adventureland. Yeah.
Adventureland.
Adventureland.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, those are my two favorite lands in Magic Kingdom, but I still have to say Adventureland.
Oh God, see, I have such a soft spot for Tomorrowland, but it's just Adventureland
The
all
old
the way.
whitewashed version, I would agree with you.
Yeah. Okay. Now we
No,
have
it's not coming back. Jeez.
now you can get your retribution. We have Dinoland versus Asia. Kevin.
Asia.
Okay. You did-
Dinoland.
You guys didn't like Dinoland, so it's your turn to kick them out. I say Asia.
Asia also.
Asia.
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 All right. And our final in this speed round is Mexico versus Fantasyland. Craig.
Mexico.
Okay.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah,
I wasn't expecting that.
because of the whole theming indoor.
I hate Fantasyland
You
right
just-
now.
man.
It looks like a mishmash, especially, and I know I'm biased because I compare it to Disneyland's, but Disneyland has that whole Fantasyland feel to it that actually works.
Yeah.
This one, it has potential to do that one day when everything comes together, but right now it's just two clashing themes.
Okay, that's valid. How about you, Sean?
I agree with all of that, but I have to say Fantasyland.
Yeah,
Mexico.
I've
Just,
got to do the same with Fantasyland. How about you, JL?
I actually am going to say Mexico. I don't have hatred towards Fantasyland, but I
You
just
seem passionate about Mexico. and that-
I love the theming of it. That pavilion has made me always want to go visit that country, and really, I mean, none of the other pavilions have inspired me in that way. But when I went to the Mexican pavilion, I was like, I really hope that one day I get to visit there.
yeah.
And
Just
not
don't go to
be,
Costa
I
Maya.
was going to say, not be abducted and,
Yeah.
held for ransom.
How about you, Corey?
I'm gonna go with Fantasyland, even though I hate that I picked the others over Mexico on both because I love Mexico, but I need to go with Fantasyland.
Okay, Fantasyland's going to take it.
How they can fit so many strollers in one small spot.
I have an opinion, Tim.
I'm sorry, Kevin. I don't mean to. It's because I'm doing like different orders and stuff. I can never remember who I've called on.
Small World is in Fantasyland, so it wins.
And you love the design and
It's
the
my
theme.
favorite ride.
Yeah. Absolutely. I'm trying not to skip over you. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, I'm only taking it personally.
Okay. Now we have our semifinal round, and that is the UK versus Frontierland. And John, I'll start with you.
Frontierland.
Frontierland over the United Kingdom.
UK.
The United Kingdom. I'm going to say Frontierland. I feel like the whole stories around Splash Mountain, the whole stories around Big Thunder Mountain. I I like that. It tells a story versus United Kingdom, which I think is just a collection of different designs and buildings, in my personal opinion. How about you, Corey?
I'm gonna say Frontierland. This is killing me because I'm so partial to the World Showcase.
Yeah.
So Frontierland.
I'm going with Frontierland as well.
How about you, Sean?
Frontierland.
United Kingdom.
United Kingdom. Unfortunately, it's Frontierland for you UK folks. I apologize. Let's see. We have 3 more matchups in this round. We're getting down to the wire on this. We have Liberty Square versus Main Street, USA. I'll start with whoever wants to start.
Main Street.
Main Street.
Okay, simple as that.
Craig didn't shout out.
Oh,
He's gonna pick Fantasyland.
no. Main Street.
Main Street over Liberty Square. Anybody not get to go on that one?
Oh, I was going to say Main Street.
You're
so
going to say Main Street.
doesn't matter.
I say Main Street.
I think I
as-
see a winner here.
It's.
I don't want to jump ahead, but I don't know.
Well, I'll tell you right now.
No, don't tell us now.
Keep it a secret.
Okay, I'll tell you after these. I'll tell you something after these next 2. We have Italy versus Adventureland.
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 Yeah, I
Adventureland.
had to go with Adventureland.
Versus Italy. Yes.
Yes.
I agree.
I will allow you to answer that.
You are all
Reluctantly nodding
correct.
his head.
Thank you.
And this is exactly what I predicted, by the way. We have one more in this round. We have Asia versus Fantasyland. Now,
Main Street.
now with Craig's hatred being, brought into the table, I'm wondering what's going to happen here.
His hatred is not contagious.
Okay. I prefer Asia over Fantasyland. That's my personal opinion. How about you, John?
Fantasyland.
Fantasyland.
How about you, Craig?
Asia.
Asia, for sure.
3 Asias. How about
I'm
you?
actually going with Asia on this.
Yeah.
4 Asias.
Wow.
Okay, I prefer to be in Fantasyland, but I think that Asia is themed better.
I will tell you guys right now, we have just diverted for the first time off of the Facebook
Really?
poll.
I was amazed it's all coming down to the Magic Kingdom there for a while.
Yeah. We have our final 4. We have Frontierland versus Main Street and Adventureland versus Asia. Our Facebook folks had Adventureland versus Fantasyland. So
They
now,
were right.
Now we are going to pick between Frontierland and Main Street, USA. Craig, I'd like to have you go first, please.
It's tough, but Main Street just tells a different story better.
Yeah, I personally feel like Main Street tells that story better than Frontierland as well. And I love all of the hidden stuff that you can learn about Main Street, the history of it, and how Main Street actually tells a cinematic story as far as like a movie with
Curtains and the
curtains.
train tracks
Right.
and
There's more details on Main Street than the average person can consume in just one day.
Exactly.
I mean, you just Main Street for me.
100% Main Street. Although I'm a little biased, but
Yeah. How about you?
I agree. And I think that it's interesting with it being the land that doesn't have an attraction really to speak of, that it's still such a powerful thing as far as theming goes. I think that's interesting. But yeah, I have to say Main Street.
Kevin?
Without a doubt.
Main Street?
Absolutely.
Okay, we have Main Street going up into the finals. But first, we have to figure out who's going to go up against Main Street. We have Adventureland versus Asia at the Animal Kingdom. Kevin, I'll start with you.
Adventureland.
Okay, how about you, John?
Adventureland.
I've got to go with Adventureland, too. Asia beat out Fantasyland, but it does not beat out Adventureland for me. Adventureland is just so well themed and has all the classic attractions, and they, like JL said earlier, they tie them in together so well.
So beautifully.
And-
You,
and
it's hard to distinguish between them. I mean, they're there, but you just don't feel...
I think the best example of what you're talking about, the theming being tied together from Adventureland, is if you go to Trader Sam's in Disneyland, how that entire building is not just from one attraction. It's from the Tiki Room, it's from Pirates, it's from Jungle Cruise. All of that theming is in one building. And that's what Adventureland does. How about you, Corey?
Oh, Adventureland, for sure.
And then you guys in the back?
Adventureland.
Adventureland, yeah.
Adventureland, did I skip anybody? Nope. So, we have our final, and it is Adventureland versus Main Street, USA. I will tell you that Facebook was Main Street versus Fantasyland for the final.
Interesting.
We
I would put
this
that in the
is
final.
this is going to be tough. Main Street USA versus Adventureland. Does anybody have a very strong opinion would like to share? Okay,
Main
Kevin.
Street. It is the entrance to the park. It has a cinematic value. The castle is at the end of the street. It's where you spend the last minutes of your adventure in the park. It's the thing Walt was most passionate about, that it looked like a main street in the United States.
Okay, how about you, John?
Main Street. For sure.
I also think that Main Street has...
Apparently I don't get to go, but
You
go.
know, Main Street has... While Main Street is romanticized, it has an actual counterpart.
Yeah.
Adventureland is... It's your imagination.
Okay.
Now you can go.
John.
I don't want to go now. Main Street. No reason given.
No reason given.
It is perfection.
For me, I've got to go with Adventureland. I think I agree with you. There's that. Everything you said is true. For me, Adventureland, and when I first made this bracket, I had a feeling that I would personally come down to Adventureland. It just has every bit of theming and every bit of nostalgia and every bit of storytelling that I want from a Disney theme park, and that's why I choose Adventureland over Main Street USA. It's a tough decision. It's not easy, but Adventureland for me.
I'm going with Main Street. There's a Starbucks, you know.
And you can get cold hot dogs on a wheat bun.
And how about you, JL?
I have to agree with you about Adventureland, because when I am in Adventureland, I definitely feel like I am in the middle of imaginative adventure world. And whereas with Main Street, it's wonderful and I love it and I don't want to take away from that. But there are often times where I just feel like I'm just passing through. You see the castle at the end of the street. You can't really avoid that. I feel like maybe that detracts from the theming of Main Street. But yeah, I often just have my feeling is often just, they are designed as such. I'm just walking to get to the next thing.
Right.
Whereas with Adventureland, I never feel like I want to just walk through Adventureland. Even if I have to, it's with regret, because I want to stop and I want to do one of the attractions or look in one of the stores or something.
You don't have nearly enough emotion in the Magic Kingdom.
It's funny because I actually agree with what you said, but flip it for Main Street. I like to hang out on Main Street. I think Main Street has the most interesting stuff of all the lands, but that's just for the same reason, different area.
So we are at 2 for Adventureland in the finals and 3 for Main Street. Sean, I'll ask you.
This is the hardest choice for me. I agree with everything Kevin said about Main Street. It is one of my favorite places in any theme park to be at. And that said, though, Adventureland takes it for me.
Okay.
I think it's so immersive.
You realize what's happening, right?
Yeah. Oh, I know.
Okay.
I'm very well aware.
Craig is now single-handedly deciding.
Taking his responsibility seriously.
Because we have a 3-3 tie, Craig is now single-handedly deciding what we at the table think is the best themed area in all of Walt Disney World theme parks.
No pressure.
And you'll find out right after this quick commercial break.
The next episode.
This isn't The Bachelor. Let's do this thing.
So, I love Adventureland. Tiki culture, the one thing that we can say about all of us at the DIS is we love that whole aspect. Yeah. And however, I way, way, way prefer Disneyland's Adventureland in that one unique style is compared to, I want to love that here, but for me, seeing the magic carpets of Aladdin and the whole Arabian section, that detracts from it. And as I've made it very well clear, I don't like mishmashing. So I got to go with Main Street.
Oh, man. All right. Well, Adventureland was so close. That makes me sad. So we have decided that Main Street USA is our number 1 best themed land in all of Walt Disney World theme parks. And I will pull this up for you here in just a moment. For those of you watching, we have the bracket that we just did. And it shows, it shows that we went all the way down and ended up with Frontierland, Main Street, Adventureland, and Asia, but Main Street won out. If you cut back to me, I'm going to pull up the Facebook, and we'll see whether or not they agreed with us. Here we go. They actually did. They chose Main Street USA as their winner as well. And where we came down to a tiebreaker, theirs was pretty clear. It was Fantasyland versus Main Street, and Main Street took it hands down. In fact, Main Street...
They are correct.
In fact, Main Street blew it away, the entire bracket. And so did Fantasyland. I was sad to see Adventureland lose out to Fantasyland on Facebook, but I'm glad we at least came to the same consensus at the table with our listeners on Facebook.
Unless I'm
The
mistaken,
Oasis was so close.
it was right there. Unless
Streets of America.
Unless I'm mistaken, every time we've done these polls, the winner has always been something that's been original Disney. That's been something that Walt's touched. We did best figure animatronic, and it was some.
Wasn't it Abe Lincoln or something?
It was Lincoln.
Yeah.
So you're talking about, Walt's hand is still the best,
Right.
no matter what else comes.
That's
up.
a
I think that's
really great point.
That's a good observation.
Yeah.
It colors everything, I think. And I think Africa and Asia, I think they're great. In my opinion, Legacy Disney beats it hands down.
Joe Rody's
Okay.
great,
What
but
is
Walt's
that?
better.
It doesn't
Yeah.
hold a towel to it.
That is what I'm saying. That's what all the kids are saying.
There's going to be a meme on Facebook.
Oh,
After
it
this.
Well, until that happened, I was going to say that was a great way to wrap this up. You're right. Walt's hand is definitely seems to be a running theme in our winners that we pick. So I'm glad that we agreed with you guys on Facebook, and I'm glad we got to share our opinions. I'm glad you guys got to share your opinions, and we can't wait to do the next one, whatever it may be. We'll let you know, and we'll have another bracket for you. And until next time, we hope you enjoyed the show, and we will see you next week with another edition of the DIS Unplugged. Goodbye, everybody.